Welcome back, everybody. I am Becky with Two Girls Without Cancer. Once again, I am flying solo. Ashley is still sick, so we wish her the absolute best. In the meantime, I'm holding down the fort with another fantastic guest. My guest is named Dallas. Now, he is a 16-hour coach, which he will explain to you and me, since I don't know what that is. He's an author, he's a speaker, he's gone through some stuff in his life, and he is here to tell us about everything that he's gone through. I'm so excited for this one. So, without further ado, welcome Dallas to the show.
Thanks,
Howdy.
Becky. It's great to be here.
It's nice to chat with a fellow Canadian.
Great. Yeah, I'm out here on the West Coast on Vancouver
Ah,
Island.
lucky. That's nice. My dad is currently visiting out there, well, for work, and he sent me pictures of flowers and things. We have a ton of snow here in Edmonton, so makes me wish that maybe I lived more
Yeah, we
coastal.
love we love to rub that in.
Yes, everyone
Y-
from BC loves to rub that in for sure.
Years ago, I had a friend in Toronto, and I used to send her
Mhm.
a picture in March of me mowing the lawn just to annoy him.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and it's funny in Ontario, so my family's from there. I'm originally from there, and I'm in a text group with my uncle, my grandma, and my mom and stuff, and they said that it was really nasty weather overnight, a big snowy storm, but it's supposed to be plus 18 today. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that's the funny thing about Canadian weather is like, who knows? Who knows what's
yeah.
going to be?
Wait a half hour, it'll change.
Yeah, literally. Like I went out today in a t-shirt. It was pretty chilly. Tomorrow I could have sandals on. Tomorrow I could have winter boots on. Like who knows?
Yeah.
So for anyone who's watching our show who is not Canadian, you might not understand. America's weather is a little more consistent, let's say. At least the more south you go. But yeah, up here in Canada land, yeah, we we battle. These are long winters for some of us. Not maybe not for Dallas, but for the rest of us. So thank you again for being here. Let's just dive right into it. Tell everybody who you are, what you do.
Okay. Well, as you said, my name is Dallas. It's Dallas Collis at gmail.com if anybody wants to say hello.
Perfect. DallasCalls at gmail.com. I will link it in the
And
show notes.
what I talk about is a story. You, Becky, are a story,
Hmm.
and I'm a story, and we are storytellers.
Yes.
If I met you at a cocktail party, I'm introduced to you, and I say, "Hi, nice to meet you, Becky. Can you tell me something about yourself?" And this self you begin to tell me about is your story.
Hmm.
And our stories are our history, what we've gone through, what we've learned, what we've experienced. Everything from our yesterday informs us for today. We are historical creatures. And our story is how we identify who we are. Because in time, we learn things about ourselves. So for many children, myself included, trauma is a part of the story. And, I came out of my childhood knowing I was not very smart, in fact, a failure. I didn't measure up. I wasn't good enough because this is what school informed me. Boy Scouts and church groups and bullies informed me that I was a dummy
Mm.
and beat me up and beat me down. And so we call this emotional baggage. And it
Yes.
becomes part of our story that we drag with us. And we identify as the person who's gone through those experiences.
Hmm.
So for years, we all have these pains with us. Some of us put on better masks and don't let them hurt themselves as much. But we all start with our first addiction. And our first addiction every human being goes to is called blame.
Mm.
So I blame school. I blame these
Yes.
bad people. I blame Boy Scouts. I blame the church for me being hurt. And in that blame, I'm safe somehow because I'm not at fault. Someone did this to me.
Right.
And so I never have to take real responsibility for my life.
Of course.
So this is a very common story for most
Yes.
people. We are
Yes.
almost all the same in this boat. And if the blame doesn't work well enough for long enough, and you have enough pain, you search for a new medication to take the pain away.
Hmm.
Blame doesn't work, so I tried alcohol. Well, alcohol is wonderful. I'm out partying, having fun. My friends are having fun. Everybody's drinking. Everybody's happy. There's no pain. Well, this is a great, great medicine. But then over time, of course, that medicine became an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And then that medicine isn't strong enough. So I had to add more drugs to it because I had too much pain that I was trying to stay away from. And over time, the body begins to get upset. And the mind expresses itself in the body. And for some people, it's obesity.
Yep.
For some people, it's heart disease.
Yep.
For some people, like me, it first expressed itself in depression. I
Okay.
woke up one morning and it was just this emptiness. And what depression is doing is suppressing all that pain and feeling. It's
Mm-hmm.
pushing it down and saying to you, time to wake up. You have to deal with this pain. Of course, I didn't. I ignored it like most people
Yeah,
do.
of course. It's too hard to deal with it. It's
Right.
easier to ignore it for now.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
we all do that and just sort of crawl along, keep going in life. Well, this is what life is. It's hard, you know, you just got
Yeah.
to grind at it. So then I finally got lucky. One day I woke up one morning with cancer. Absolutely the best day of my life.
Okay.
And in the next 12 months, exactly 12 months, 4 months into the pandemic,
Mm.
I went through surgery and then treatment and then came home and my wife left and I lost my house and I lost my business and I lost my family.
Oh
And in
boy.
12 months to the day of getting cancer, I'm now alone in a basement suite, suicidal and alcoholic.
Oh my gosh.
The greatest year of my life. Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, each one of those things that happened, each one individually was terrible, was
Yes.
horrifying, was incredibly painful. But when I put it together in 1 year of life collapse, as I call it,
Mm-hmm.
it brings you to a place that few people will know. When you get close to suicide, you are at a place that you cannot articulate because it is the edge of life
Right.
where you either get up or you end.
Mm-hmm.
And few people get that choice. You know, most of us die when we die,
Right.
and it's at the end. But this is a choice end.
Mm-hmm.
And so something magical can happen, and I believe that's what happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
is that door opening, the lights coming on, and saying, whoa, you just went through all that and it didn't kill you. You have
Yes.
something to do, right?
I love that.
So I got lucky again in that just a few months later, as I'm struggling with finally ending alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
deciding I'm going to live, I've got something to do. I'm listening to a podcast in the background while I'm preparing dinner. And the podcast was about consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And a man on the podcast says this one line, and it absolutely floored me and changed my entire life, which I would never believe. I've never believed in the bolt of lightning, you know, that
Right. Yes.
moment. I've always thought that was so Hollywood and silly.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, it's true. Now I believe it's true because it happened to me. And
Amazing.
this line that he said is this: show me yesterday.
Mm.
That was it.
That's it.
Our whole life is about yesterday, our
Mm-hmm.
story, the story mind, as I call it. Everything we believe about ourselves is a part of this story we carry with us from yesterday.
Right.
When he said, show me yesterday, my mind went, yeah, I can't go to the cupboard and go, hey, look, Becky, here's yesterday. Like, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? What is the truth of it?
It's
What
gone.
is this thing I've believed as a story that brought me to the edge of death? How is that possible that I just believed a story that was me and it almost killed me?
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, it's a belief, it's a story. There's nothing true about it outside of my belief. You don't believe my story because it's not your story. So, what is the reality of this thing that we think is ourself. That's the reality that I opened up to and went, there is no truth to our story. There's
Mhm.
only the truth that I believe in it.
Mhm.
I was traumatized at 10 years old. Well, when I'm 60, I'm not being traumatized. Why am I holding it? Why have I carried this pain? Why have I carried it to the point that I ate crap food, didn't exercise, drank alcohol, did all these drugs, worried sick every day,
Mhm.
anxious about tomorrow, until my body exploded into cancer and I lost everything? All because of a story I believed.
Wow.
So when you can realize that your life is only right here, you and I today, right now. It doesn't exist yesterday, it's gone. It doesn't exist tomorrow, it never arrives. We are only right here. So I'm a 16-hour coach because I came to this realization. If my day is 24 hours long and I sleep for 8 hours, how many hours do I have to live my life?
Right,
16.
16. Yeah.
That's the only time you will ever live your life is for
Mm.
16 hours. Because when it's gone, it's yesterday. It's gone. Tomorrow is never going to be here. We only live one day, 16 hours.
Mhm.
So what could I do with one day? Could I eat a little better? Yeah, I could do that. Could I go for a walk and do something for exercise? Yeah, I could do that in a
Absolutely.
day.
Yeah.
Could I call a friend or a family member and tell them I love them? Yeah, I could probably do that in one day. Could I put the best possible intention into my work to make sure there's a roof over my head, clothes on my back, and food in my belly? Yeah, I can do that in one day. And there's life. You only ever have to do anything for one day. And as soon as you can make your life one day, what is there to worry about? What is there pain in? There isn't any. You're here, alive, being attention one day.
Wow.
That's the simplicity of our life that we have covered in a story and
Mhm.
filled with a drama. And we've got climate change, and we've got war, and we've got politics and elections. And oh my God, my whole life could be upended. It's a drama.
Yes.
None of it ever comes true.
Yeah, is not the truth.
Every great drama of your life, when you look back, you go, yeah, but it really wasn't anything, was it?
Right.
You're still here. You still get up in the morning, get dressed, live. One day. That's all that we have. It's so beautiful when you realize
Yes.
that nothing else is in the way. Everything
Mhm.
else is imagined in our minds. It's just not real.
Mhm. Wow. That was you are profound. That is a very simple, but very deep thought, and it's so true. There's a piece of to living in that moment. They say depression is stuck in the past, anxiety is stuck in the future, but like that living for today, that moment. And I know as someone who's recently gone through cancer, like some days you have to take it just a day. You can't envision what your life's going to be like in a year from now, especially not with the disease. But knowing that I can get through today, that brought me a lot of peace through my journey.
Yeah. And this is a great thing. Let's discuss this cancer
Yes.
because this is where it first started showing up.
Mhm.
Um, I can remember my first day arriving at the BC Cancer Center for my first treatment and sitting in this waiting area, and there was 4 or 5 other people. I started talking to them, and they were all scared to death, which I get, but they were viscerally, couldn't talk much, didn't really want to look you in the eye,
Right.
were really, really scared. And I get it. But I found as I went each day to treatment and I would talk to different people, some people were like me and just went, oh, it's today. Let's do it. We'll get
Yeah.
through it. We'll get through it. And other people had already gone to the future and decided they were going to die.
Mhm.
It's like they had already made up their mind that the beast
Yes.
had them and they couldn't get away from the beast. I
Mhm.
would call it the beast, is what I called cancer.
Yeah, fair.
And so I found some people already gave up going in. As soon as they got a diagnosis, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I'm doomed. I'm
Yeah.
dead. And they did die.
Yes.
And
That's
these,
the
and
piece I was waiting for.
and I found the people that were like me who cracked jokes and was singing and
Yeah.
dancing in the hallways of BC Cancer Center, and people would think I was a freak. And I was going, big deal. Here
Yeah.
we go, blah, 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 and dance along.
Yes.
Those people tended to live.
Mhm.
We have this amazing power of our minds. If we believe a story is the end of the world,
Mhm.
we live that way in
Yes.
pain, like it's the end of the
Absolutely.
world.
Yeah.
And if we live in a story that says, today is wonderful, I love you, you love me, everything's fine,
Mhm.
we tend to be happier, healthier, and things are fine.
Mhm.
It's not absolute, of course not. Cancer comes and kills the most optimistic people in the world.
Totally. Yeah.
Nothing is 100%. It's simply an odds. And
Yeah.
by the odds, the more positive you are, the more you believe in this moment, the better chance I think you have to live a better life.
Mhm.
And cancer was the kickoff of that. It said to me, yeah, this is what it's about. And then each thing that happened afterward just kept knocking me down, of course. But that stuck with me forever.
I love that.
That
I
sort of finality, yes or no. What are you going to do?
Yes. So I know, different journeys that I've been on with cancer. I traveled to Mexico to do holistic, and then I came back to Alberta to do conventional. And different doctors and nurses through all those places would tell me, or my companion, my mom, whoever was with me, they would say, she's going to beat this. Her attitude is so good. She's going to beat this. And so,
They've seen
they
it.
would,
They've seen it
yeah,
over and
they
over.
have. Exactly. Like I mean, in Mexico, everyone's pretty nonchalant about everything. So,
Yeah,
when a doctor's like, oh, you have cancer. Okay, whatever. Where here it's like, oh my God, you have cancer. You're going to die.
yeah.
But, in Mexico, like the doctor just kept saying, she's going to be fine. Like this was to my mom. She's going to be fine. Listen to her talk, listen to her attitude. Like she's going to be fine. And, in the back of my mind, I would hear it and I would go, how does he know this? But I always knew, as someone who's like kind of chronically optimistic anyway, like a ray of friggin' sunshine when even, sky's gray.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it was like, it was impossible for me to be negative about it. Don't get me wrong, I had my moments, my freak
Of
outs,
course.
my little like I want to be in a hole and like not talk to anybody and
Yep.
whatever. But for the most part, like I would say 95% of my day was spent, I've got this. It's fine. It's just cancer. I've been through harder. Like I just really had to talk myself down. Now, granted, like coming out of cancer, like once I was in remission and stuff, you do have to deal with a lot of the trauma that comes along with it, at least for me.
Yep.
Um, there was some moments where I did feel like maybe that optimism wasn't genuine. I was faking it till I made it kind of
Sure.
thing.
Sure.
But it got me through, man. That survival mode, being optimistic in survival mode was everything. And I think it brought me to where I am today. Like, don't get me wrong, I still suffer, like emotionally, I still suffer sometimes, mentally, my body, physically. There's still things I need to deal with post cancer. However, I had a very aggressive cancer and I was stage 3 as a young person and I beat it really fast, Under a year I was in remission. So it's like, I don't know, I really believe that my mindset, my optimism had so much to do with it. I didn't let it control me or define me. Cancer wasn't going to be how I died. And because of that, like you were saying, you felt like there was more to your story or there was more to your purpose. And I kept feeling that too. Like, I'm not meant to go right now. This is not how I'm going to go at 36 years old. Like, I have so much more to do in my life. And that always kept me going as well, thinking there's no possible way that I'm going to die right now because I know that I'm meant for more.
That's the
And
first
so
thing I
that
used to
kept me
do
going.
with people when I talk to them. I would say, plan what you're going to do when
Yes.
this is done.
Hmm.
Treat it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
This isn't the show. This is just the speed bump. And
Yeah.
when you get through it, what are you going to do? I would try and get people to talk about that, because I
Yeah.
think that optimism of going to something after this is really important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see, like, maybe some people feeling anxious about that or whatever
Oh, yeah.
because how do I picture my life like that? And then you have your heart set on something, and then if your health turns the opposite way, feeling let down. But I totally see what you're saying. Like, yeah, being able to look to a future event that's gonna be really awesome, something to look forward to. That I do think that's helpful for sure. I don't wanna just think, "Oh, in 1 year from now, I'm still gonna hurt, I'm still gonna be tired all the time, still gonna have brain fog."
Exactly.
Like, I mean, because really, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy too. Like, if you're talking that negativity into your life, if you're putting it out there into the universe, whatever, your body hears it. If you're gonna say and I do this, I got called out on this on my massage an hour ago. He said, "If you're talking bad about your body, it hears you. So if you're saying, 'I'm sore all the time, I hurt all the time, my brain doesn't work all the time,' guess what?" And I'm like, "Woo, right in the heart here, friend." So,
The
I've
fastest, I've done a lot of work with elderly people,
mhm,
trying to get them into the gym and,
yeah,
looking after themselves. And I have found that the fastest people who decline after about 65 years of
mhm,
age, they're the people who start saying little things like, "Oh, oh yeah, I'm getting old. Oh," they start pointing themselves out that they're getting old,
mhm,
and
mhm.
their mind starts going, "Yep, you're getting old," and it leads
Yeah,
them down the path to
yeah.
declining faster
It's
because
almost
they
like you're
rein.
putting a curse into
Yeah,
your body. You're speaking it over you. That's why, I do not accept a prognosis. Don't tell me I have a year to live. No, absolutely not. You don't curse me. Like Ashley, my co-host, who's not here, she was told when the cancer comes back, not if, when the cancer comes back, you have
right.
6 months to 15 years. I mean, that's pretty general, but they put that curse on her and she came over and she was in tears. "I'm gonna die." And I was like, "No, we don't accept that." Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a part of this whole storytelling and story
Mm,
believing. That's the
mhm.
whole point of this, is we create beliefs in our mind and they are the truth for us
Yes.
as soon as we believe it. And
Yeah.
to our whole life is a part of that story.
Mhm.
I always say to people, if I can find the finish line for all of us, and I don't mean death, I mean, what do we all want out of life?
Mhm.
Every human being wants the exact same thing. We just want to be healthy and happy.
Really, yeah.
You look at your children, you'll say, does he want to be a doctor? I don't care. As
As
long as
long as
my
he's
child
happy.
is healthy and
Yeah,
happy.
totally.
We all want the same thing, to be happy.
Mhm.
So I say to people, then what are you waiting for?
Yeah,
Like,
really.
I just found the purpose of every human being. Our purpose is to be happy.
Mhm.
That's it. Why make it into some great drama? Like some Hollywood movie that, oh, my purpose is to change the world. My purpose is to. No, your purpose is to be a happy, healthy human being. That's it.
Mhm. And I think what people forget as well is even if it's just you that's happy, that's your goal in life is to help yourself be happy, that affects other people. You don't know that you're changing someone else's life by your happiness, your joy, your gratitude, your, disposition. That could help change people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we infect each other
Yeah, I was gonna say that joy is
because
infectious.
we are all part of the same story.
Mhm.
I was saying to mine, look at every Hollywood movie that's ever been made. They follow a formula. It's called the
Mhm.
hero's journey.
Right.
It's the path of starting of a just normal, nothing person, and then struggling and having to overcome
Mhm.
pain, and then coming up against bigger challenges that seem
Yes.
impossible. And in the end, you get there to where? Happy. Every
Yeah.
story is the same story. Our
Mhm.
whole world has the same story. And the more we can see that it is just belief in this story, the more we can take the drama out
Right.
and say there's no reason to have all this drama of fear and insecurity that is
Mhm.
put into us at birth. I mean, you want a human being to be traumatized? Have them leave that beautiful womb of
Right.
comfort and security and be
Yeah.
thrown out into this world. And the baby does what? "Ah!"
Yeah, bright, sterile environment, cold, loud.
We are
Uh,
traumatized
yeah.
instantly with fear and insecurity. And
Yes,
this
of
is what
course.
plays our story in life. It's all based on this.
Mhm.
We have so much fear and insecurity in the world, we're willing to have armies and go to war and kill each other, only for the reason of a story that we're believing. You're bad, I'm
Right.
right, you're wrong, I'm good. That's all it is.
Yeah. I was
There's no
thinking about
reality to this.
I was thinking about something today. This is kind of an aside, but I was it had come up about Hitler, the Nazis, stuff like that. Obviously horrible. um, but like my husband's grandfather was German and fought for the German
Yeah,
army in World War II, and how he believed that their side was the good side. I mean, obviously, they didn't know what
of
was going
course.
on with, genocide and things like that. But he thought that it was the right side because that was the story that they were told and they believed. And so, 80 years later, we know that that wasn't the case. But to them, that was the truth to them, that they were just fighting for their side, which really in their own truth is the right one.
Of course.
So yeah, it's
Because they had
interesting.
the same story we had. They had the
Yeah.
same story.
Mhm.
Our story just prevailed in the end, but it was the same story.
Mhm. Yeah, fight for your
Our
country, protect your family.
our pain, our emotional pain and everything is a part of the same story.
Mhm.
And we can defeat our own story.
Mhm.
I now disbelieve my story. As
Mhm.
soon as I disbelieved my story, I wasn't carrying the baggage. I didn't need alcohol or drugs or anything because I
Wow.
didn't need medication against the pain because the
Yeah.
pain was gone because I didn't believe it was true.
Mhm.
So I
Wow.
say now today, you cannot heal from anything.
Mhm.
You don't heal. What human beings do is leave.
Mm.
They stop carrying the disease. They stop carrying the emotional baggage. They stop carrying the trauma. They leave it behind. We think it's healing. We can't heal. We've had
Mhm.
100 years of psychiatry and psychology from the greatest minds in the
Right.
field about the brain. And
Yes.
today we have a mental health crisis. We have
Literally.
more people on psychoactive drugs than ever before in history.
Mhm.
Why? Because you can't heal. The people who get better from mental health leave the baggage behind.
Mhm.
They simply escape it. They leave it. They
Mhm.
don't, they stop coping. We teach everyone to cope with it, to manage their emotions, to
Mhm.
find the way to deal with life, to try and make life easier for them, to support them and encourage them. We call them survivors like it's a badge of honor.
Mhm.
This is all a mistake.
Right.
This keeps people in pain.
Yeah.
It makes them comfortable in their pain.
Mhm.
When you leave it, there's nothing to be comfortable about. It's just not there.
Mhm.
That's the
Wow.
story. That's the believing or disbelieving of
Right.
yesterday. What is behind you?
Yeah. I struggle with people who say, "I will never forgive that person," or "I can forgive,
Right.
but I'll never forget." Why? Why wouldn't you wanna do both? Let it
Exactly.
go and move on. Why does that need to hold on to you? Because you may forgive them, let's say, quote, unquote, "You forgive them," but if you're continuing to hold on to the memory, you really haven't moved on.
That's the first addiction we talked about. That's
Yeah.
blame.
Blame. Yeah, because it's
That's
somebody else.
using blame so I can't don't take responsibility
Well,
for
yeah, of
myself.
course. It's people don't want to know that they have character flaws, right? We all do it. We're all humans, right? We're
Yeah.
all imperfect creatures.
You mean you're not perfect?
No,
What?
can you imagine? Can you imagine? I know. But yeah, we don't want to know that we have a character flaw. And I think this is why so many people stray away from self-work. It's hard because you'll come face to face with your own issues, your own flaws, your own weaknesses or whatever. But man, once you battle through, once you let go, once you release that and walk away, the healing that comes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you, like,
the only true healing is finding your true self.
yeah.
I say,
I
look into a baby's face, a newborn baby's face,
mhm,
and what do you see? You see love and beauty and
yeah,
happiness. That's
pure.
all.
Yeah.
They don't have a story yet. They don't have
Yeah.
worries. They don't have any labels.
Learned
It's just
behaviors. Yeah.
it's just a beautiful human being.
Yes.
Well, 3 months ago, my mother died. And two
So
hours
sorry.
before she died, I looked in her face, and what did I see? I saw beauty. I
Mm,
saw love. I saw that happy baby's face.
mm,
I'm not seeing my mother or that baby. I'm seeing my own heart reflected in them. My true self is what you see in those faces.
mhm,
That's why we all, in the end, get there. Everyone, as they get close to death, suddenly the cars, the house, the clothes, the makeup, nothing
means
matters.
nothing.
They
Mhm,
begin to get close to what? The baby, the
mhm,
true being of just being a beautiful person who's alive. That is always there every day, every moment of our life. But we cover it in what? The clouds and the storms of the drama of a story
right.
that blinds us to our true nature, that we
Mhm,
are just loving, beautiful, happy beings.
mhm. Wow. Like, these are hitting me right in the feels here, Dallas. Like,
Good.
this is it, it just it speaks to me because, like, what you were saying is, you decided, like, "Can I go for a walk today? Yes. Can I eat better today? Yes. Can I tell someone I love them? Yes." The past week, I've gotta say, there's been a nagging inside, call it whatever, divine, call it intuit whatever. There's been this nagging on the inside that was like, "You're literally wasting the second chance. You need to go to the gym. You need to not stop for fast food. You need to," for me, like, I'm such an emotional eater,
Right.
dealing with trauma, it's like I'm back to eating, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, you don't need to do that. You need to be better. So the fact that today is today and I get to talk to you, it's like all part of this, like, little divine plan here, I think, to just continue motivating. Even if I'm the only person who's motivated by this podcast, which I don't believe that's the case, but, like, it's like it's exactly what I needed to hear today.
So I'll give you some steps that I took because I
Mhm.
was there.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I did, I covered my fridge in the same sticky note. It just said, "What's going into your mouth?"
Mm.
So that when I got to the fridge, there were 50 sticky notes all over it saying the same thing. It would
Mhm.
wake me up. And I
Right.
wouldn't I wouldn't eat out of trauma, out of pain. I would
Yeah.
eat out of thinking first.
Mhm.
So I made a better choice. On the bottom of my TV beside me here is a sticky note
I
still,
see that. Yeah.
and it says, "Get off your ass."
I love it.
It's the TV looking at me and talking to me saying,
Yeah.
"I see you sitting there staring at me. Get up, do something."
Mhm.
So all over my house, I put sticky notes that were there to try and wake me up because we spend 70-80% of our time almost subconsciously going through habits and routines without thinking about it, without
Mhm.
really being awake and paying attention. It's the story you drive home at the end of work one day. You're dead
Mhm.
tired. You come into the house, you slap your keys down on the counter, and the sound of the keys hitting the counter wakes you up. And the first thing your mind does is it goes, "I don't even remember driving home.
Yeah. How did I get
I
here?
don't remember one turn or one traffic light. How can that be?"
Crazy. I've had that.
That's This is the thing that we are sleepwalkers for so much
Yeah.
of our life. And so trauma is allowed to be fed
Yeah.
because we go to the medication, whether it's food or the TV screen or pornography or
Mhm.
even working out for some people.
Yeah.
Anything can be an addiction that feeds the trauma to try
Yeah.
and take pain away.
So true.
Only if you're awake, then it's not there because your
Mhm.
mind can't go into memory or imagination of tomorrow if you're
Mhm.
paying attention.
Mhm.
So the more you pay attention, the sticky notes were pay attention. Stay awake.
Mhm.
Don't go off daydreaming into all these places that give you pain and upset and anxiety and everything, because they all come
Mm.
from when you're sleepwalking.
Mhm.
They don't come when you're awake and paying attention.
Right. I was chatting with, our last episode, was with a lady who helps with weight loss, and her and I were talking about basically this, like, if you don't deal with what that addiction is in the first place, you're just going to transfer it. You may kick the habit, but it's going to go to something else if you don't
Yeah.
deal with that root or at least leave that root. And we were saying, like, I was an eater, I was in a very toxic marriage. I would emotionally eat. And it was like me
Right.
driving to Wendy's was the only thing I could control to the point where it was out of control. And I would
Yeah.
get that first bite and my heart would be pounding. And it was like a drug fix. It was literally like I
Yes.
had to kick Wendy's. And then when I had weight loss surgery and I dropped 75 pounds really fast, looked great, felt great, left my husband. And now I was like, I've got it all together. I don't need to, I couldn't eat. I physically couldn't. But guess what? I had to start
Yeah.
finding other things. You know what I did? I sought attention of men. That was my drug. I needed
Yeah.
male attention. I didn't care if you were married. Like I
It's
needed male attention.
medication.
Yeah, it
Medication.
was. And now that I'm, married again to somebody else, I've started eating again. And it's like, I why haven't I dealt with any of the trauma? And so like post treatment for me, I did some very intense counseling, with my insurance company and through the cancer center. I did two different therapists and we uncovered a lot. Man, stuff like I've been divorced for 10 years, like stuff I didn't even know existed or that I was holding on to. And for about a 2-3 month period, there was a lot of PTSD linked to that. A lot of trauma that I hid either in Wendy's or male attention that I never even thought about, and it
Yeah.
came out. It came out in these 3 months, just in the fall that just passed, and it was awful. It was almost debilitating, and I've never felt low in my life. Like I said, I'm chronically, positive, and, this was the first time probably ever in 38 years that I felt like a bag of garbage. Like, I felt like I wanted to stay in a dark room. I became introverted all of a sudden, which I'm not.
Yeah.
I lost confidence to talk to people, and
Hiding.
now
Hiding.
yeah, hiding because I felt like, "Oh my gosh, like, I'm this vulnerable, true self now," but you know what? As quick as it came on, it disappeared. All of a sudden, I was no longer insecure. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't having panic attacks. Like, the things that came on out of nowhere because of uncovering it just disappeared, and you know what? I don't feel it anymore, and I feel like a weight has been lifted.
Yeah. Well, it has.
It literally has.
Emotional baggage gives a physical weight to your body.
Mhm. Oh, does
It
it ever?
tires people out. It
Yeah,
exhausts them by carrying those bags.
it is
That's
exhausting.
that's a great moment you said about Wendy's, because I can envision you driving into Wendy's with a voice in your head going, Becky, don't go in there.
Mhm,
Becky, don't eat that food. You know you shouldn't. And you still go and do it. You're
mhm.
overridden. I
Like this.
walked into
This
liquor
guy and this guy.
stores. I would walk into a liquor store with the voice going, don't open that door.
Mhm,
Don't pick up that bottle.
mhm.
Don't buy this. But I'd still be doing it
Yeah, of course. You're like, "Shut up,
because of
voice."
what you just said. I hadn't dealt with the reason. You hadn't dealt with the reason to medicate with fast food. I hadn't dealt with the reason to medicate with alcohol. It's no
Mhm.
different.
No, it really isn't. People
It's
think
both of us dealing with a story
yeah.
of our belief. And as soon as we got out of the story, you no longer need the medication.
Yeah. I knew a fellow who used to have a drug problem, lots of drugs, lots of alcohol, whatever. Kicked it, became sober, great, amazing. All of a sudden, I'm in that gym 4 hours a day. Like I need to work out all day every day. I can't eat any carbs, like I have to be this. And then it morphed into like this sex addiction and it was like you need to
You never
leave
dealt with it.
behind.
Yeah.
No, and
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, you're making healthy choices, great, you're exercising and eating well, that's awesome. However, it's become like an obsession, like an addiction, right? It is an addiction. And so, yeah, and until you're really ready to leave that behind, and again, when people say, "I'll never forgive, I'll never get over it," okay, then you're never going to, like, literally,
Yeah. You
you're
just
literally
told me
setting
you
yourself
don't
up.
want to.
Yeah, exactly. I'll never forgive that person. Okay, you physically will not ever forgive that person, and you will continue to hold that weight for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and you're not hurting that person, you're only hurting yourself.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's just
That
it. I again, I'm also, like, chronically forgiving of people, even people that let's say didn't deserve it, but at the end of the day, like, everyone does deserve it, and even if it's not for them, it's for me. I'm tired of carrying around baggage all the time, I had a very traumatic relationship with my ex-husband, and now him and I are great buddies. You know why? Because all of
yeah,
a sudden I let it go and I
yeah,
saw him as, like, just a person, the father of my children, a man I once
exactly.
loved, and now we're buddies, and it feels
Yeah,
like such a weight because that was a big weight on me for almost a decade, and as
it
soon
is
as I
for a
got sick.
lot of people.
Yeah, as soon as I got sick and, he obviously got a kick in the butt with that, and I got a kick in the butt with that, and it was like, we have children together, and we need to, just be the best we can for them, and also, like, let's take away that anxiety and stress and pressure between us, and now it's like, it's great. It's his
Yeah,
birthday in a month. We're gonna go out. We're gonna go to bingo together. It's
and
like, I would never in a million years think of doing that.
it's easy.
It's easy. Yeah.
It's easy. This is
Yes.
the biggest part of this. The simplicity is why it's so difficult.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
20 years with my wife, knowing it was a toxic relationship,
Yeah.
knowing we had to be apart, but not leaving because
Mhm.
you get the idea. Well, we have cars together, house together,
Yeah.
children together, bank accounts together. You're so intertwined, you can't see how you can escape it.
Yeah. You're together for
And then when it
convenience.
happens, when it happens, your
Mhm.
head spins around and goes, "It was that simple?
Yeah,
That's
honestly.
it? That's
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
The world didn't come to an end?"
Yeah. I know.
And that moment is that simplicity that we have to realize is all life.
Yeah.
It is that simple. But getting there is all the complexity of the story and the storm in our heads that doesn't allow us to see straight.
Mhm.
And it's always been there, it's always waiting for you.
Yeah.
And everyone is
Uh,
strong enough to do it. Everyone is strong enough to walk
yeah.
that.
They are. They really are. People don't give themselves the credit. Their bodies are
Not
smart, their brains are
nearly.
smart, their hearts are
Yeah.
smart. Your body is literally perfect. You just need
Yes.
to give it the tools to be perfect. It's
Right.
physiologically, psychologically, emotionally, like, you just need to give it the proper tools to do its job.
I say to people, there's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to achieve. There's no goal to reach. You're here. This
Mhm.
is it. You won. You're just not allowing yourself to take the winnings of this day. That's why I
Mhm.
called the book The Gift is the Present.
Mhm.
The gift is the day, this
Yeah.
one day we have, this 16 hours to just live life the way you need to live it for one
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
Don't put the pressure of a whole lifetime. It's one day.
I think having had been sick, as any person, but for me, I only know my story, but as a young person with young kids, whatever, um, I there was a real moment, and even still, I have to, like, really get myself out of that moment, but there was a space there where it was like, "Woe is me. I am a
Yes,
victim," that blame, like you were saying, "This happened
absolutely.
to me," and then it was like, not that I wanna, like, take my blame for it, like, "Oh, I should have eaten better. Oh, I should have dealt with my traumas," or whatever, but I did have to come to that realization at some point too. Hey, maybe you should have dealt with some traumas. Maybe you shouldn't have just buried it. You didn't need to be tough in front of people. You could have been emotional in front of people.
Well,
It was.
you may have noticed the cancer societies, especially in the States, have been that the biggest cause of cancer is genetic.
Yeah.
This has been a belief for many, many years.
Mhm.
It's beginning to go away because the
Yeah.
truth is showing up that it's
It's
epigenetic.
epigenetics, 100%. This is
It
the
is our
4th time
lifestyle. So
I've
I
talked about
would say to
epigenetics.
people, I said to people from the beginning, well, I gave myself cancer. And they would be like, what are you, crazy? And I said, well, no, I just spent
Mhm.
40 years worrying, eating
Mhm.
shit food,
Mhm.
drinking alcohol, taking drugs in
Yeah.
abusive situations. Of course, I brought this on myself. And they were
Mhm.
just stunned to hear this. But now all science is going straight there and realizing that is it.
Yeah. Like, I'm telling you, this is the 4th time in 2 days that I've talked about epigenetics with somebody, and I even said to massage right before I came here, I said, "Yeah, there is, some small piece of genetics, your parents had it, so you had it, but that again, that's a curse. Like, don't tell me I'm gonna have that. My
And
lifestyle will dictate."
everyone has the genetic trigger for
Of course,
cancer,
of course.
but it doesn't get expressed unless the epigenetic result
Mhm,
looks for
mhm,
the expression.
mhm.
And that's environment, that's mind state,
Totally.
that's all these pieces coming
Yeah.
together.
I
Never
think a
one
lot of
thing,
it.
not
Yeah,
one
of
thing.
course. Yeah, it's not just like, "Oh, I didn't deal with this, therefore I have trauma." Well, you're right, I
Exactly.
didn't deal with it, but I also ate poorly and also yo-yo dieted, and I also had a lot of, different traumas, and I
Right.
also don't sleep well, and I also went through a season where I drank a bit, and, like, there's a lot of factors that just basically weaken you down
Yeah.
to
We
have
usually
something.
go down by 1,000 cuts, not by one event.
Yes. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
built up over years and time, and we practice
Mhm,
living this story that can kill you.
mhm. Yeah, really. Imagine if we all just started living like you had 100 years to live, like that you're like every day, like you said, is a
Or you had
gift.
one day
Like,
to live.
yeah, that's true too.
Live for just this one day and don't have a story, and just
Right.
be people who love each other, care about each other, and enjoy life. That's it.
Hmm.
You don't need anything else.
Yeah, that's fair. I was thinking like if you know you're going to hit 100 years, like that means you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to worry about that debt. You don't have to worry about dying in a car accident. You don't have to worry about. But yeah, I see what you mean with the one
The
day. I'm
downside is, though, if I knew I was going to live 100 years no matter what, I'd still be an alcoholic on drugs
well,
and
fair. You're
pretending
right.
I was having a good time. So
Yeah, you're right.
it's a tough one to look at that way.
So true. Dallas, you're an amazing speaker. I love that. Like I feel like I could talk to you forever. I just feel like everything that you're thinking is like speaking to me
Great.
tenfold.
Love it.
So I love this. So, we're our time is coming to an end here, but why don't you tell everybody where they can contact you, what you can do to help them, all the things.
I can't help anyone.
Right. How can you motivate somebody to help themselves?
I always say today, if you've got your name, you can't hide.
Mhm.
I mean, you got my name, Dallas Calls. You're going to find me at Gmail. You can find me on Facebook. You can't get away from it.
True.
My books are on Amazon. It's just pretty simple today, so I don't worry about it too much. And you've got the links in the show notes, so
Mhm.
we're
Okay,
all
amazing.
good.
So if you type Dallas Collis in anywhere, you're gonna find this guy. You're gonna
Yeah.
be inspired by this man. I like, I love it. I'm so thankful for this conversation that we've had here today.
Thanks for having me, Becky. I've enjoyed it.
Awesome. Okay, like, I know I say this every episode that I loved that guest was amazing, but, like, honestly, I feel so incredibly blessed to have met all these people and be able to interview them, because, like, not only does it speak to me, I really feel like this speaks to everybody. Like, who doesn't have anxiety? Who doesn't have stress? Like, who doesn't have things that they're holding on to? So, just remember what Dallas said, like, just live in today. Today is you're thankful for today. Today is one day, and that's you don't have to worry about it. You're not your story, you're not your disease, you're not your past, you're not your trauma. You are literally your story today. So, I am, like, blown away. Go to hold on this way, Dallas Fit 5 Life. That's his social handle. But again, you could type in Dallas Collis anywhere and find it. Amazon, social medias, whatever. Join us next week when we are back with another fantastic guest. Hopefully, Ashley will be back for that one. If not, it'll be me here. And follow us on oh gosh, it's backwards. Two Girls Without Cancer on all the socials, YouTube, Spotify, whatever. Check us out every Tuesday morning. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day.